So here we're going to show you the anchor. I went ahead and got this out of the boat because it's just a little important to kind of realize what's going on here, because it can be confusing when it's all tangled up. First of all, this is the box anchor we use. It's a large one. It's good for up to 40-foot boat. We use it because it's a no-hassle anchor. Most anchors require 7-to-1 scope, which basically means if you're in 10 foot of water, you're going to need 70 foot of line to get a good hold on the bottom. These only require 2-to-1, which I've found that sometimes I don't even really need that because the anchor is so big and holds so well. Which again means if you're in 10 feet of water, you need about 20 feet of line. But it's a huge help for this thing. It's self-setting. Don't have to do any maneuvering. Just drop it over and you're good to go. As you can see, it looks like a freaking bear trap, but no chain, no anything. But as far as the line goes, we have what's called an Anchor Buddy, which is this black line. And it's essentially a big giant bungee line. The other line you see is just a standard anchor line, which runs just in tandem with this black line. So you can kind of see when you come out here, you really just have two lines just connected. What that's for is the black line is holding the weight, but the other line is if the black line were to happen to break, which it won't, but if it did, one, you wouldn't lose your anchor, two, you wouldn't lose your hold on the bottom. So essentially you can kind of see this work. How this Anchor Buddy works is a lot of anchors will lose on the bottom, will lose their grip, because as a wave comes, so for like this example, as a wave comes, if my foot's your anchor, as a wave comes, it's yanking the boat up and down, and it yanks this anchor, makes it slide around. With this Anchor Buddy, as your waves are yanking, this thing just stretches, and your anchor just stays there. So it works great. I've absolutely never had it come loose. Even out here on Devil's Cove, where people are constantly coming unanchored, this thing has never gone anywhere. I've had up to 9-10 boats on this thing. It's been great. So as you can see though, as you stretch this thing, that other line starts coming into play. So if you're stretched out, that's kind of what happens. It's really just a safety line. So, but that gives you an idea of kind of what's going on when you're in the boat and throwing it all over. Now, what we also have here at these connection points are called Danik hooks, which are really great. The way we have this set up though, it's just a clip, just clips right on to your cleat or your hook, whatever. But this black cord will stretch, and I'm actually going to send you a diagram too, so maybe you can understand this a little bit better. But basically this black cord will stretch to about 35 to 40 feet. So if you're in under 40 feet of water, which you can see on your depth gauge, you really just use this hook. You don't have to use anything else. And what I like to do is just clip this guy, hang over, and just clip it right here onto the little hook, and you're good to go. It's great, it's easy, good to go. So my camera here overheated, so I'll have to continue this video here. But as you remember, like I said, this hook right here is for basically under 40 to 35 depth range. If you get over that, you just leave that goes straight in the water with the whole other mess. You're going to follow this rope as you're letting it out, all the way down. And then you have another hook here. Same style, Danik hook, just has a little clip. But the other one you will never move, but this one, what makes these so great is that it has a little slip here, and this guy will slide up and down the rope. So what you essentially are doing here is when you find the depth, you can slide this hook, make sure this rope's nice and tight, with the anchor, and then you just clip it down. So you can slide that up and down the rope to find your depth over 40 feet. One good thing about this though is if that's hooked on, so say you've got in 60 feet of water, so you've got this all out, this bungee's still acting on the bottom. So it's still acting to sit there and absorb waves on the bottom. But essentially, in a nutshell, if you're under 40 feet, use this hook. And this guy will stretch all the way down to about 7 feet. So you're good there too. But essentially under 40, use that hook. Over 40, use the other hook on the other line. When you're done, just feed it back into that locker. You don't really need to wrap it up or anything nice. It all will just kind of unfold in there, and throw that bad boy in there and you're good to go.